welcome back to my channel. My name is Natalie, and I am the artist and owner behind NMC Design Studio, which is a small art business based out of Seattle, Washington. And I've got exciting news. I'm going to be starting an artist residency. Yay! So, how did we get here? Last year, actually, let's back up even further. A few years ago, I actually applied for an artist residency or like artist retreat here in the Pacific Northwest and didn't get in, sad. But the idea kind of like never really left my brain, and last year actually I took about a week off of work specifically to focus on art in lieu of a artist residency. But that week off of work was intended to be like an art focused week. I stayed home, I didn't like leave here, but I specifically focused on art that week. And so then mid last year, maybe like early fall, August, September-ish, I saw another artist that I had begun to follow on Instagram posting about their time in an artist residency in New Hampshire. And I was interested because it was specifically a print shop and they had risograph as well as a letterpress, and it looked like a lot of fun. So on a whim, I applied, and I didn't expect to get in because most of the art that I'm making isn't like fine art, if that makes sense. It's not. Some things, obviously, I've done a few like art shows and things like that, but I've been pivoting a lot to like stickers and silly goofy designs, and also have just started getting into making zines. I think at this point, I want to say I have maybe 5 or 6, although one of them is like a group zine that I have licensed to distribute, and also none of these zines are risograph zines. I haven't done any risograph zines. And at the point of application, subtract like 2 or 3 from that number, right? I think I had half because I recently released 2 more zines in the last shop update. And I don't remember if at the time of my application I had very good photos of one of the zines that I made. Anyways, all this to say, I was not expecting to get accepted, like at all, but I did get accepted. And very funny story as well, I was actually at a D&D session. To be fair, we weren't playing D&D, but that is the closest approximation. We were playing a different system called Draw Steel. Anyways, was playing tabletop role-playing games with friends when I got the email and had a cat actively in my lap, and I was like, what? What? I did it? I got it? What? I was not expecting this. So, fast forward to now. I have been creating some artwork that I specifically want to be able to experiment and print with during my residency. So it's a 2-week-long residency, which I'm stoked for, but also I'm going to miss Blossom and Reese so much during that time. So it's a 2-week residency at Direct Angle Press in New Hampshire, and I am so excited, but also very nervous. I am really excited to be able to have 2 full weeks to experiment with risograph. I think I've talked a little bit on here before about what risograph is and how it functions, but the truth of the matter is, while I know like in theory how it functions, I have never been the person who printed my risograph prints. For all of my previous risograph prints, I have used Push-Pull, which is a art supply store in Ballard who has a risograph machine. And I essentially send my files to them and then they print it for me, which I think is fairly standard, or at least a standard offering for a lot of print shops and art shops that have a risograph machine. Some other shops in Seattle also allow you to, generally it's like a subscription fee almost, or like you reserve like an hour of time at the shop to use their risograph machine, but I haven't done that before. So I'm really excited to be able to experiment with risograph and be able to experiment with the medium, because it's not something that you can easily experiment with like at home. You need a printer that is this specific printer that is very hard to acquire and generally very expensive to maintain and things like that. So I'm excited to be able to have the chance to have 2 full weeks of being able to use the risograph printer myself and be able to experiment more with the medium, especially experimenting with the colors. And I was mentioning zines before, but that was one of the things that in my application I was like, I want to do more experimental zines. So I'm also really excited to have a couple of those to experiment with. I'll tell you very briefly my thoughts for at least 2 of them. So 1, I love Freerun, the anime and manga. My partner had to work so hard to convince me to watch Freerun. He was asking me about it and he was very convinced that I would like it. Spoiler alert, I love it. But it took a really long time for me to actually get around to watching it. We actually ended up watching the first few episodes together. I don't remember what the occasion was. It might have been for his birthday, but I feel like that was too late because we watched it before season 2 came out, which season 2 came out at the beginning of this year in January. But I ended up loving it so much. We watched the first few episodes, ate dinner, and I was like, we should watch more episodes actually. So we watched a couple more episodes and then I asked him if I was allowed to watch it by myself since he had already seen it at this point. He was like, yeah, sure. And I stayed up until like 4:35 a.m. the next morning binge watching it and finished the entire first season in under 24 hours. So safe to say I enjoyed it. And then since then, remember this was like early January that I believe I finally watched it. I've watched it 2.5 more times all the way through. So I like the series. We also, at the time of filming, season 2 has just wrapped up. So finished watching season 2, cursed the cliffhanger, and then I wasn't reading the manga, so I could enjoy the second season with Reese just as it was. But season 2 ended, I binge read the rest of the manga episodes that are out because the manga is currently on a hiatus, as I understand it. So now I'm waiting for a different cliffhanger. So all this to say, I really enjoy Freerun. I have no Freerun fan art currently, and I was thinking about the projects that I wanted to do and around the time that I got the email that I was accepted was also around the same time that I finished watching Freerun for the first time. So I was like, ooh, a zine with like Freerun and stuff would be really fun. And then I thought about old the flipbook animations where you like draw a little dude running in like the corner of a little notepad and then just flip through it. I think that could be so fun with Freerun. And so I've been working on, and I'll show you a little bit of the digital file later, but I've been working on creating walking animations of Freerun and Co. And the idea is to have Freerun and Stark and Fern walking across a field with like the meteors in the background moving, and then transition to Freerun and Himmel and Heiter and Eisen walking across that same field with the meteors in the background, and kind of have it transition between the two, right? So essentially I need to create however many like animation frames, right? And each of these will be separate pieces of paper or prints. But because it's risograph, I also need to be cognizant of the layers of color because, again, risograph is very similar to printmaking, like block print or screen print is probably closer. But essentially how it prints is in layers of color. That means that when you're setting up your digital file, you need to have it in layers of color. So I'm having to be very thoughtful. Lots of brain work has been going into setting it up, and because I have to make sure that the layers are correct on each of these frames. So anyways, lots of work going on there in my brain. I think I have 3 frames done currently, and I'll need to work a little bit more on it to get all of them done, because that's one that I don't want to have to worry about while working on while I'm there. Maybe like some color adjustments and things like that, but I don't want to have to be like fiddling with layers and shapes and things like that while I'm there. That brings us to the next experimental zine. I was also, one of the things that I was just trying to think about was, what are fun things that I can do with zines, with the format of zines? And one that I thought of was, what if it was a zine but also a print? And what if you could change out like what the different print looked like? And so that led me to the idea of, you have like, let's say you have a square, right? And there's 4 quadrants, and each of those quadrants has an image on it. And those 4 quadrants and those 4 images together make up your print. Each of these quadrants can also be flipped around, and underneath is a different image. And once you flip it out, you now have the 3 original quadrants with the 3 original images, and then you have 1 quadrant with a new image. And again, those 4 make a unique print. Now, each of these quadrants essentially has 2 images that they can be, meaning that you have a bunch of different combinations to make this print, right? And so I still have a little bit of work to figure out the exact mechanics of this. I was thinking like tabs and tucking under, but I think that might be a little bit too complicated. So then I was thinking, ooh, maybe you could use Velcro to do that. As long as the Velcro wasn't super visible, I think that could work. I was also considering like string and tying things together, but I think that might end up making it look too cluttered. So I'm not sure about that one. But I already have the artwork for that all done, unless I decide that I want to pivot and I had a separate idea. So the first artwork that I have done for this is fruits and vegetables, and very like farmer's market-esque. But the other idea I had was different pine cones, and then having a branch with cherry blossoms, and then the alternative is a branch with like moss and lichen and stuff on it. So we'll see if I decide that I do want to experiment with like that alternative art. Maybe I'll make it and then I'll just have 2 versions. We shall see. But that's the other zine that like still needs a little bit more work, but I'm pretty sure is very close to being done. And then I also want the ability to like experiment while I'm there and make art, like not just pre-make art, but make art while I'm there as well. So I'll definitely be bringing along my iPad, which I have a lot less experience using my iPad to make art. Like I have Procreate, and Affinity Designer, which is the vector program that I use mostly on my computer, also has a iPad app that I'm planning on being able to use. But I have a lot less experience using Procreate, and I actually have 0 experience using Affinity Designer on the iPad, so that'll be a fun experiment. If I'm smart, I will experiment with it before I leave. But also, I'm not very smart, so we'll see if that happens at all. But I have some like vague ideas of like a Gus the Duck zine, like a little story-based zine with some illustrations, and yeah, we'll see what else comes up. And then I also have some prints that I want to be able to print. So I had they are older. I had previous prints that were vector illustrations, and they were reusing a lot of the artwork from my sticker sheets that I've made. And I had a couple different ones that I was interested in recreating in risograph. I think I've talked about this before, but I want to move away, at least in like my prints, from digital or like digital printing, and move more towards risograph printing in all of my prints, as well as my like very physical printmaking techniques, so block printing mostly. And this is to just kind of keep a more consistent style across my artwork. I think it's a little bit jarring currently to have block prints and then digital prints, and additionally like my stickers and things like that. So I think instead of having digital prints, just having risograph prints might help bridge that gap a little bit. And also I just think risograph looks cooler than digital prints. It's more fun. So I wanted to recreate some of my smaller digital prints in risograph, mainly my pink gaming prints that were different consoles and were turned into like pink and cute colors. And then also I had prints that included artwork from my Maple Story sticker sheet, my Wind Waker sticker sheet, and my Stardew Valley sticker sheet. And I wanted to recreate those in risograph as well. So currently, as it stands, as of filming, we have all of the gaming consoles have, also if you hear jingling in the background, that's Blossom. Hey, pretty girl. What's up? So currently we have all of the pink gaming console artwork risographized, and we have the Maple Story print also ready to go. One of the things that I think will be really useful in being able to do the risograph myself is adjusting colors, because I currently am doing a lot of guesswork, right? I don't have access to like testing out colors and such. So I'm making a lot of guesses in terms of what they will actually end up looking like when they're on paper. And that bit me in the butt a little bit with one of my more recent risograph prints. And by more recent, I mean like, I feel like it's been like a year at this point, but that was one where I had like green and then blue right next to each other, and you really can't tell the difference. And I don't know exactly what happened there. I would have to go back and look at the file and then look at the print, but they really bled together and there wasn't as much distinction as I was really wanting there to be. So being able to adjust the colors like in real time, I think will be nice, and will also probably help me in the future and going forward as well. And then last thing that I want to mention is I am planning on vlogging this trip as well, this artist residency. So hopefully, assuming nothing goes wrong, there will be 2 vlogs in the future about the artist residency and everything that I kind of get up to, and y'all will be able to see that. I'm also going to miss Blossom, who's down here, a lot during these 2 weeks. I think this is the longest that either Reese or I will have been away from her. And obviously I'm gonna miss Reese as well, but I can video call and talk to him and text him. I can't do that with Blossom. She's gonna be very confused as to where I got off to. But I think that about wraps up this video. Let me know what you think about my plans. Should I be looking to do anything different? Maybe I'll try experimenting with the letterpress too. I don't have any specific plans relating to that, but that could be fun as well. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, consider subscribing. I post videos every Monday about my artwork and what it's like running a small art business. I'd also like to thank my Ko-fi subscribers for their support. If you're interested in supporting me further, you can subscribe to me on Ko-fi for $1 or $3 a month, and you'll get various rewards like your name in this video, as well as monthly behind the scenes sketchbooks and monthly digital backgrounds for desktop and mobile. Thank you again for watching, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye. What do you think, Blossom? Are you gonna miss me?